पुरुषोत्तर को बुला रहे गुरु महाराज।
Then, which I was checking out, I left it like that. I heard that you said there is nothing. I just checked it again also. You can read it from the Samadhi book in the meantime. I'll see that big book. हाँ, इंटरनेट पे भी देखना।
आज गंगा माता गोस्वामी ने कहा कुछ।
हाँ, वो भी है, दोनों ही है।
Shri Baldev Vidyabhushan, Shri Baldev Vidyabhushan, Shri Govinda Das appeared in the 1600s near Remuna, Odisha. In his youth, he mastered Sanskrit grammar, poetry and logic. After carefully studying the commentaries of Sankara and Madhava, he took initiation in the Tattvavadi disciplic succession of Shripad Madhvacharya. Baldeva Vidyabhushana became a 𝐃𝐲𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿, conqueror of all openings, and began visiting the holy places. Wherever he went, he defeated the local sages, scholars, and sannyasis. In Jagannath Puri, he learned the super excellent philosophy of Shri Krishna Chaitanya from Shri Radha Damodar Goswami and took initiation after converting to Gaudiya Vaishnavism. In Vrindavan, he studied Srimad Bhagavatam under Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and worshipped Radha Shyam Sundara. In 1706 AD, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur sent him to Gulta near Jaipur, Rajasthan to uphold the credibility of Mahaprabhu's movement. The local Ramanandis, a branch of Shri Vaishnavas, were claiming that the Bengali Vaishnavas had no right to worship Govindaji because they had no commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Lord Govindaji himself directly revealed the Govinda Bhashya, a Vaishnav commentary on Vedanta, to Baladeva Vidyabhushan. Using it, Baladeva solidly established Gaudiya Vaishnavism as an independent philosophy. He also reinstated the Bengali Vaishnavas in Govindaji's service in Jaipur. Govinda Bhashya is the only bhakti commentary on Vedanta Sutra. Shri Baldev Vidyabhushan was a Nishkinchana Parama Bhagavata, fully renounced topmost devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa. His more than 24 books and commentaries have helped thousands of Vaishnavas understand the sublime philosophy of Krishna consciousness and the intimate writings of the six Goswamis. Since he was devoid of false prestige, he never wrote about his birth, parents, lineage, personal life. According to Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Navadvipa Dhama Mahatmyam, in Chaitanya Leela, Baladeva Vidyabhushan is Shri Gopinath Acharya, the brother-in-law of Shri Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. In Braj, he serves as Shri Radha's eternal maidservant, Ratnavali Devi. Shri Chaitanya, his life and associate, Srila Baladeva Vidyabhushan. The exact time and place of Shri Baladeva Vidyabhushan's birth are unknown. Perhaps historians will one day be able to formally establish these facts.
Read from where now? A big book.
Big book,
Okay.
The exact time and place of Shri Baladeva Vidyabhushan's birth are unknown. Perhaps historians will one day be able to formally establish these facts beyond any doubt. From the little information that we do have about his life, we can conjecture that he was born in the 17th century of the modern era. Though we do not know the name of the exact village where he took birth, it was likely in the Balasore district of Odisha, somewhere near Remuna. from the date given in his commentary on Rupa Goswami's Stavmala, it is clear that Baldeva was still living after the Battle of Plassey in 1757. We know that Baladeva studied in one of the villages of the Chilka Lake area in southern Odisha. There he learned grammar, poetics, and logic, achieving expertise in all these subjects. He began his studies of Vedanta there, but in order to understand the commentaries in greater depth, he went to Mysore. He was there particularly impressed by the logical consistency of the Madhva Sudha, the vast commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. He thus became a disciple of that school and went to live in a Tattvavadi monastery. After taking sannyas, he moved to Purushottam Kshetra, where he engaged many of the local scholars in debate, demonstrating the depth of his scholarship. His fame soon spread throughout the area. Later, however, he met Radha Damodar Goswami, a scholar from Kannauj, under whose direction he studied Jiva Goswami's Sat Sandarbha in great detail. When he was convinced of the supremacy of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, he took initiation from Radha Damodar Goswami. He was thus initiated in Nityanand Prabhu's line. The following is his disciplic succession. First, Gauri Das Pandit. Second, Hriday Chaitanya Prabhu. Third, Shyamananda Prabhu. Fourth, Raskananda Deva Goswami. Fifth, Nayananda Goswami. Sixth, Radha Damodar Goswami. Seventh, Baladeva Vidyabhushan. Baladeva then continued his studies of the Gaudiya literature under Pitambar Das and later studied the Bhagavad Purana under Vishwanath Chakravarti. He also took the Vaishnava Vairagi's dress, at which time he was given the name Ekanti Govinda Das. Baldev's written works. Baladeva was ordered by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur to go to Jaipur, where he prayed to Rupa Goswami's Govindaji Murti for the authorization to write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. He then composed the Govinda Bhashya and took it to Galta, where he defeated the other Sampradayas in debate, preserving the reputation of the Gaudiya school. After this episode, he was given the title Vidyabhushan. This story has been told in greater detail in the previous chapter on Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The following is a list of Baladeva Vidyabhushan's written works. A commentary on the Brahma Sutras Govinda Bhashya, Siddhant Ratnam, Vedant Shyamantaka, Prameya Ratnavali, Siddhant Darpana, Sahitya Kamuri, Kavya Kaustuba, Vyakran Kaumudi, which appears to have been lost, Pad Kastuba, Vaishnavam Nandini, a commentary on the 10th canto, a commentary on Gopal Tapani Upanishad, commentaries on the Isha and 9 other Upanishads, Gita Bhushna Bhashya, a commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Nam Artha Sudha, a commentary on the Vishnu Sahasranama, Saranga Rangada, a commentary on the Laghu Bhagavad Amrita, Stvamala Vibhushna, a commentary on Stvamala, a commentary on Rupa Goswami's
थोड़ा पीछे जाके फिर से read करिए.
Baladev.
Read from begin.
Read from
Starting से फिर से पढ़िए.
Okay. The exact time and place of Shri Baladeva Vidyabhushan's birth are unknown. Perhaps historians will one day be able to firmly establish these facts beyond any doubt. From the little information that we do have about his life, we can conjecture that he was born in the 17th century of the modern era. Though we do not know the name of the exact village where he took birth, it was likely in the Balasore district of Odisha, somewhere near Remuna. From the date given in his commentary on Rupa Goswami's Stvamala, it is clear that Baladev was still living after the Battle of Plassey in 1757. We know that Baladeva studied in one of the villages of the Chilka Lake area in southern Odisha. There he learned grammar, poetics and logic, achieving expertise in all these subjects. He began his studies of Vedanta there, but in order to understand the commentaries in greater depth, he went to Mysore. He was there particularly impressed by the logical consistency of the Madhva Shuddha Dvaita, commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. He thus became a disciple of that school and went to live in a Tattvavadi monastery. After taking sannyas, he moved to Purushottam Kshetra, where he engaged many of the local scholars in debate, demonstrating the depth of his scholarship. His fame soon spread throughout the area. Later, however, he met Radha Damodar Goswami, a scholar from Kannauj, under whose direction he studied Jiva Goswami's Sat Sandarbha in great detail. When he was convinced of the supremacy of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, he took initiation from Radha Damodar Goswami. He was thus initiated in Nityanand Prabhu's line. The following is his disciplic succession: Gauridas Pandit, Hriday Chaitanya Prabhu, Shyamanand Prabhu, Rasikananda Deva Goswami, Nayananda Goswami, Radha Damodar Goswami, Baladeva Vidyabhushan. Baladeva then continued his studies of the Gaudiya literature under Pitambar Das and later studied the Bhagavad Purana under Vishwanath Chakravarti. He also took the Vaishnava Vairagi's dress, at which time he was given the name Ekanti Govinda Das. Baladeva's written works. Baladev was ordered by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur to go to Jaipur, where he prayed to Rupa Goswami's Govindaji Murti for the authorization to write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. He then composed the Govinda Bhashya and took it to Galta, where he defeated the other Sampradayas in debate, preserving the reputation of the Gaudiya school. After this episode, he was given the title Vidyabhushan. This story has been told in greater detail in the previous chapter on Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The following is a list of Baladev's Vidyabhushan's written works. A commentary on the Brahma Sutras, Govinda Bhashya, Siddhanta Ratnam, Vedanta Syamantaka, Prameya Ratnavali, Siddhanta Darpana, Sahitya Kaumudi, Kavya Kaustubha, Vyakaran Kaumudi, which appears to have been lost, Pada Kaustubha, Vaishnava Nandini, a commentary on the 10th canto, a commentary on Gopal Tapani Upanishad, commentaries on the Isha and 9 other Upanishads, Gita Bhushana Bhashya, a commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Namartha Sudha, a commentary on the Vishnu Sahasra Nama, Saranga Rangada, a commentary on the Laghu Bhaga Brahmasta, Stvamala Vibhushana, a commentary on Stavamala, a commentary on Rupa Goswami's Natika Chandrika, Chanda Kaustubha Bhashya, a commentary on Rasika Nanda's Shyamananda Sataka, a commentary on Chandraloka, which appears to have been lost. Krishna Nandini, a commentary on Sahitya Kaumudi.
The concept of Baldev Vidyabhushan.
Yeah, Baldev Vidyabhushan.
Vishwanath Chakravarti.
Yeah, his written works.
Vishwanath Chakravarti.
A commentary on the Chandraloka, which appears to have been lost. Krishna Nandini, a commentary on Sahitya Kaumudi. Govinda Bhashya Tika, a commentary on his own Govinda Bhashya. Suksma, a further clarification of his own Siddhanta Ratna. From computer?
कंप्यूटर में ज़्यादा मिलेगा.
मिला हुआ सब कुछ. I was just waiting for him to complete this article. Okay. अब यहाँ से पढ़ लीजिए. There is one small proper lecture on this and then some other articles. इससे पूछ लेना. ये कौन सा order में पढ़ना.
अच्छा.
पहले ये है. ठीक है, ये यहाँ से शुरू करना है. Today's the birthday. उसके बाद ये होगा. ठीक है. उसके बाद ये होगा. वो पढ़ने में. 1, 2, 3, 4. Today is the birthday.
So today is the birthday of Baladeva Vidyabhushan. So Baladeva Vidyabhushan, you have seen in my Bhagavad Gita his name dedicated to Baladeva Vidyabhushana, who has written the commentary on Brahma Sutra, Govinda Bhashya. Shri Baladeva Vidyabhushana is our Acharya. Baladeva Vidyabhushan is a 4th generation Acharya from Lord Chaitanya, 4th or 5th. Anyway, he is one of the acharyas, just like Goswamis. They are acharyas, Srinivas Acharya. So Acharya Parampara, disciplic succession. So Baladeva Vidyabhushan is also Acharya in this Gaudiya Sampradaya. So his special gift, every Acharya means he gives some special things. Previous Acharyas has given and the next Acharya gives something more. That is the symptom of Acharya. In the incarnation also, just like Lord Buddha incarnation, then Shankaracharya, then Ramanujarya, then Madhvacharya, then in this way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So every Acharya is giving a further lift. So Shri Baladeva Vidyabhushan also gave a further lift to this Sampradaya. What is that? Baladeva Vidyabhushan wrote commentary on Brahma Sutra, Vedanta Sutra, Vedanta Sutra. His Vedanta Sutra commentary is known as Govinda Bhashya, commentary of Govinda. The history is that this Govinda Sampradaya did not write any commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, because according to our Sampradaya, we accept this Srimad Bhagavatam as the commentary of a Vedanta Sutra. Bhashyo Yam Brahma Sutra Nam, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 25.143. Lord Chaitanya has recommended, it is stated in the Srimad, that this Srimad Bhagavatam is the real commentary of Vedanta Sutra. Vyasadeva is the writer of the philosophy, Vedanta Sutra, and he personally, under the instruction of his spiritual master Narada, personally wrote this commentary, Srimad Bhagavatam, on his own book, on his own philosophy, Vedanta Sutra. If the author himself writes some commentary, that is the perfect, because he knows what is what. Therefore, because the Srimad Bhagavatam is there, the Gaudiya Vaishnava, they did not attempt to write another separate commentary on the Brahma Sutra. Any intelligent man can understand that this Srimad Bhagavatam is commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. The Vedanta Sutra begins with Janmadi Asya, Atahato Brahma Jigyasa, and Bhagavata says Jivasya Tattva Jigyasa. Brahma Jigyasa and Tattva Jigyasa is same thing. The human life is meant for inquiring for the Absolute. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it is there, and the next aphorism in the Vedanta Sutra is Janmadi Asya Yatha. This Gaudiya Sampradaya did not take unnecessary trouble again. The Acharya Sampradaya, if my previous Acharya has written something, so he will not touch these points, but he will write something which can develop further. That is Acharya, not that chewing the chewed. Somebody has written something and he is also writing the same thing. No. If he at all writes, he will write something which will beautify or glorify or magnify the former idea. That is the... So this Vaishnava Sampradaya did not write commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, because they knew that already Vyasadeva, our original Guru, he has already written Srimad Bhagavatam. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended, and it is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhashyoayam Brahma Sutra Nam. This is the real commentary on the Brahma Sutra. But those who are smart Brahmins, they objected in Jaipur. In the Jaipur, there is a Govinda Seva temple of Govindaji. The king of Jaipur took away when Aurangzeb was harassing Hindus, and he was breaking some of the Hindu temple. At that time, from Vrindavan, the Govinda Murti, not only Govinda, Govinda Gopinath and Madan Mohana, these Murtis were taken from Vrindavan to Jaipur. The king of Jaipur, he was Vaishnava. So along with the deity, the priest of the worshipper, I mean to say, those who were engaged in the temple worship, they were also taken. That is the system. So they were as usual worshipping, but some of the Smarta Brahmanas, they objected that Gaudiya Sampradaya is not bona fide. Why not bona fide? Just like Dr. Stahl objected that this Kṛṣna consciousness movement is not Vedic. Therefore, I immediately protested, no, it is 100% Vedic. So when the Smarta Brahmans, they objected that this Gaudiya Sampradaya is not Vedic. How one is Vedic? Any Sampradaya, if you inaugurate some party, then he must comment on the Vedanta Sutra. Otherwise, that party is not bona fide. That is Vedic rules. One must understand that what is Brahma Sutra. So because there was no particular commentary on the Brahma Sutra by the Gaudiya Sampradaya, on account of presence of the Srimad Bhagavatam, so they objected. So this information was given at that time to Vrindavan. Vishwanath Chakravarti. You have heard the name of Vishwanath Chakravarti. He is also Acharya and vastly great scholar. So all the Vaishnavas requested him that please write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Otherwise they are objecting that we are not Vedic. At that time he was very old. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, so he thought it wise. He asked this Baladeva Vidyabhushan. He appeared to be just like his disciple, that I am very old now. I cannot go out of Vrindavan. So you take up this job and write one commentary on the Vedanta Sutra immediately. So he took up the matter. He has written many other books, Baladeva Vidyabhushan. So he immediately started for Jaipur, Govindji's temple, and this is the Acharya, that unless I am authorized, unless I am empowered, how I can write? This is Vaishnava, not that because I have got some ABCD knowledge, I can write something. No. Just like one civil service officer, Mr. Gupta, sent me one commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. Perhaps you know we have delivered that, returned that panacea. So I immediately pointed out that there are so many discrepancies, we cannot publish this. So they have taken back. So he thought that because he is ICS officer, civil service officer, very big officer in India, therefore he can write commentary on Bhagavad Gita, or these nonsense things are going on. Anyway, anyone, he has got some ABCD knowledge, he thinks that I can write something. No, you cannot write anything unless you are authorized by the disciplic succession. You have no access in it. So this Baladeva Vidyabhushan went to, Jaipur, and for 3 days continually he laid himself flat, just like we offer obeisances in that way, without taking any food and water, asking permission from Govinda, whether I shall write. Of course he was ordered, but still to confirm it, that Vishwanath Chakravarti has asked me to write, but if you confirm it, then I shall begin writing. So Govindji informed him, yes, you write, I give you order. I immediately write. So he began to write this Bhashya, commentary of Vedanta Sutra, and it came out very, very successful. Govinda Bhashya commentary on Vedanta Sutra available, this is in Sanskrit. But we are describing the same conclusion in our different books. In Srimad Bhagavatam also the same conclusion is there. You don't require to read separately, but because the Smarta Brahmanas challenged that, you are not Vedic because you have no commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. So this Baladeva Vidyabhushan gave us the Govinda Bhashya. Of course, other Vaishnavas Acharyas like Ramanucharya, Madhvacharya, they have given commentary on Bhagavad Gita. But we Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, we are benedicted by this Baladeva Acharya Prabhu. And his life is that he appeared in the family of a Vaishya community. His forefathers were agriculturists, but he became a great devotee and great scholar in Sanskrit. And he has got his commentaries on Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta Bhashya, and he has written many other books all in Sanskrit. So his birthday, appearance day is today. So it is our duty to commemorate the memory. Activities of the Acharyas, and offer our respect and ask from them benediction for our progress. That is the system. Therefore, we have listed the appearance and disappearance of the Acharyas. We should take advantage of these auspicious dates and offer our respect to the Acharyas. Yes, Maharaja, we have other, so we are going to read the other one as well.
Baldev Vidyabhushan, Part 8. Their voices rose with the sun. It was early morning in an Indian village school. The boys sat in neat rows behind palm leaf manuscripts, committing their lessons to memory. As they chanted their grammar rules, their rhetoric lessons, and their logic aphorisms, each boy chanted loud enough to hear himself over his neighbor, resulting in a blend of high-pitched voices. This school, attended by Baldeva early in the 18th century, closely resembled village schools that had existed in India for thousands of years. The system had endured because it was effective, producing brilliant and disciplined scholars, and Baldeva was among the best of them. Before coming to school, Baldeva, the son of a merchant, had lived for several years near the origin town of Remuna. From there, he had gone to study with a group of Panditas at this school, situated idyllically on the bank of the 𝐃𝐲𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿 river. The lush origin forest and fertile fields provided ample fruits, vegetables, and grains for a wholesome, varied diet. The boy studied hard, played hard, and grew lean, healthy, and discerning. When Baldeva graduated from school, he did not want to return home to work in his father's shop. He wanted to be a scholar, not an ordinary scholar but a true acharya, one who could teach divine wisdom. A pandita had to master logic, philosophy, medicine, or cosmology, but an acharya had to know the scriptures that impart the deepest wisdom. Baldeva decided to study philosophy and theology. He would become a Vedantist, an authority on the ancient Vedic books of knowledge. He could not think of any greater way to benefit himself or others. In a search of a preceptor, Baladeva went on pilgrimage to the Tirthas, where he would meet monks and scholars. In Mysore, now Karnataka, in southwestern India, he came upon a hermitage of holy men who were also called Tirthas, followers of the saint, and scholar Ananda Tirtha, AD 1197 to 1273, who was known formally as Madhavacharya. In the monastery or matha, Baldeva studied Vedanta and mastered the arts of debate and rhetoric. These talents would serve him well in a challenge he would later face while still a young man. The challenge Baldev would meet is of critical importance to the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, the spiritual school to which the modern day Kṛṣna consciousness movement belongs. By the time Baldeva was born, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas or followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were well established in Vrindavan, the town in northern India where Lord Kṛṣna had enacted his childhood pastimes some 5,000 years earlier. But life in that area was often insecure. For thousands of years, the Vrindavan Mathura district had been periodically invaded and pillaged. Yet despite these calamities, Mathura had thrived as a center of trade and culture. Every ancient religion of northern India considered Mathura an important city. In 1512, Lord Chaitanya arrived in Mathura. He found that the places where Kṛṣna had enjoyed pastimes were now obscured. So he spent 2 months locating and identifying them, wanting to reconstruct Vrindavan and rededicate it to Kṛṣna. He sent Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, two of his chief disciples, to the holy city. Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami accomplished Lord Chaitanya's mission in Vrindavan. Not only did they rebuild the sacred places of Kṛṣna's life, but they also wrote books that presented Lord Chaitanya's doctrine in a way suitable for both scholars and laymen. Srila Jiva Goswami, their nephew and disciple, continued their work. He supervised the construction of magnificent temples for the worship of Kṛṣna, wrote exhaustive philosophical treatises on the philosophy of Kṛṣna consciousness, and distributed the religious manuscripts of the Vrindavan Goswamis throughout the Vaishnava world. Largely due to Jiva Goswami's efforts, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas succeeded in establishing Vrindavan as the principal seat of Vaishnavism in northern India. Vrindavan had always been a holy pilgrimage site, but under Gaudiya patronage, it flourished as a powerful religious center for 150 years. Gaudiya gurus and temples held sway in Vrindavan, even at the time of Baldeva's arrival in the early 18th century. Unfortunately, the peaceful leadership of the Gaudiyas could not last. In 1669, the Mughal ruler Aurangzeb decreed that Hindu temples and carved images or deities should be destroyed. Deities, priests, and pilgrims were in danger, and faithful devotees of Kṛṣna stopped visiting Vrindavan. Many of those who had the courage to express their faith were beaten or killed. Subsequently, the Vaishnava priests appealed to the Hindu dynasties of Rajasthan for protection for themselves and their deities. Protection was guaranteed, and gradually the deities migrated east to settle in Mewad and in Amber, the old Jaipur's capital. But without deities, Brahmanas and pilgrims, Vrindavan Mathura lost much of its glory. One of the principal deities of Vrindavan was Govinda, a 24-inch black marble image of Krishna in his original aspect as a cowherd boy. Srila Rupa Goswami had found him while excavating the holy places of Vrindavan. Later, warned that Aurangzeb's army would seek to demolish Govinda's splendid 7-story temple, the priest secretly moved the deity to Radhakunda, a sacred pond widely known as one of the holiest places in the Mathura district. After a year at Radhakund, the priests transferred their divine refugee to Kaman, a fortified city in the Mathura district, where a suitable complex could be built for Govinda. For more than 30 years, he had two other deities, Gopinath and Madan Mohan, remained in Kaman. But most supported the ruling Mughals and a clan of local people called the Jats, who had risen up against the Mughals. The Rajput king of Amber found themselves at the pivot of the conflict between the Mughals and Jat guerrillas. The king allied themselves with the Mughals against the Jats but patronized the Vrindavan deities, whom the Mughals wanted to destroy. Reading from another article, Baldev Vidya Bhushan Disappearance Day. Today is Srila Baldev Vidya Bhushan Disappearance Festival. On this day, let's glorify this great Vaishnava personality by remembering his life and pastimes. Srila Baldev Vidya Bhushan was born in the early part of the 18th century, 1720 to 1790, in a village near Remuna, Balasore district of Odisha. Even though he was the son of a Vaishya farmer, in his youth he received a very thorough education in Sanskrit, rhetoric, logic, and Vaishnava scripture. He accepted sannyasa into the Madhva Sampradaya at a very young age and stayed at Jagannath Puri. He became a renowned scholar and travelled around India to all the holy places. During his travel, Baldeva came to Puri in Odisha, Utkal, and met with one disciple of the famous Rasikanand Prabhu of the name Sri Radha Damodar Deva Goswami. It was to the surprise of everyone that Baldeva was converted to Gaudiya Vaishnavism by Radha Damodar Deva Goswami, who first explained the philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in accordance with the tenets of Vedanta Sutra and Srimad Bhagavatam, then initiated him as his formal disciple. Under his direction, he studied Jiva Goswami's Sat Sandarbha and he quickly became prominent in all intellectual circles. This Radha Damodar Deva Goswami, although not prominent as a member of the Parampara, he wrote Vedanta Samantak in 6 chapters dealing with the Pramanas to be accepted. The 5 Prameyas, Jiva's Prakriti, Time and Karma, and quotes Madhvacharya prolifically and pleads vigorously for the distinction of the Jivas and Brahmana and repudiates the doctrines of Avechatva of Brahmana. There is an interesting story which shows the surrendered mood of Baldeva and his sincere desire to please his spiritual master. Once, when Vishwanath Chakravarti was too old to travel, he sent Baladeva to a conference to represent Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Baladeva was required to prove the validity of Gaudiya Vaishnavism to the rest of the Vaishnava community from a scriptural point of view, and thus become duly authorized to speak on matters pertaining to rituals and Vaishnava religion. Though he was preaching furiously, no one was prepared to accept his statements according to Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, although sufficient evidence was there. The reason others would not accept his statements was because there was no established commentary of Brahma Sutra or Vedanta Sutra to support Gaudiya Vaishnavism at that time. Some were saying that in every other sampradaya, the founding or reforming Acharya had made some form of commentary on Vedanta Sutra, Shankar, Ramanuja, Madhva, Vallabha, etc. Even though Lord Chaitanya explained Vedanta Sutra, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, 7th chapter 138 to 146. Touching the main subject matter, nothing was written. Some members of the Sri Sampradaya, the Ramanandis, began to raise the argument in the court of the king at Jaipur. They complained that as the Gaudiya Vaishnavas had no commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, they were not qualified to worship the deity, and therefore all of the worship should be turned over to the Sri Sampradaya. They also objected to the worship of Srimati Radharani along with Sri Govinda and Sri Gopinatha as not being authorized anywhere in the Shastra. The king, Sadachari Raja, was initiated within the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Thus he quietly sent word to Vrindavan informing the devotees there of what had happened. At the same time, the king was obliged to remove Radharani temporarily from the deity room, as well as to suspend the Bengali Gaudiya Vaishnava Pujaris from partaking in the deity worship. As we have just stated, at that time Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad was very aged, so it was not possible for him to make the arduous journey to Jaipur. In his place, he sent his student Sri Baldeva, who was fully conversant with the Shastras and thus able to competently face the challenge. In a great assembly, he posed such forceful arguments to the followers of Ramanuja, the Ramanandis, that they could not reply to them. He further explained to them the originator of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has accepted Srimad Bhagavatam as the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, as composed by Śrīla Vyasadeva. This is proven in the Sat Sandarbha. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami has commented on this point, saying that the reason that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't make a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra was because they came in the line through Vyasa to Madhva, who had already made their commentaries. So why should they make theirs? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Goswamis were quite happy to follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. The scholars in the assembly, however, refused to accept anything other than a direct commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. And with no other report, Baladeva promised to present them with one. They gave Baldeva 18 days to have his commentary ready for discussion. The mood of the Ramanandis were quite aggressive, much like put up or shut up, which made Baldeva transcendently anxious. Feeling very aggrieved in this manner, Sri Baladeva took shelter of the Lord and came to Sri Govindaji's temple in Jaipur. After offering his prostrated obeisances, he informed Sri Govinda of everything that had happened. That night, a wonderful thing happened. The Lord appeared to him in a dream and instructed him to write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. The Lord said, "You just write, and I will dictate to you what to write, and therefore no one will be able to refuse to accept it." Having seen such a wonderful dream, Sri Baldeva was totally enlivened and felt renewed strength flow into his heart. Thus, he began to write, and within a few days completed the commentary, which was titled Sri Govinda Bhashya. May he who so mercifully and munificently was kind towards me and bestowed his favor by ordering me in a dream to write down his own commentary, which he would compose and which attained such renown amongst the learned circles that they bestowed upon me the title Vidya Bhushan. May that dear friend of Srimati Radharani, who holds him dearer than her own life, be glorified. May that Sri Govinda be glorified. Bringing the commentary with him, Srila Baldeva again came to the assembly of the Ramanandi scholars. After reading the commentary, they were simply speechless. Thus, the victory of the Gaudiya Sampradaya was announced far and wide, and the king, as well as the other devotees, began to float in the ocean of bliss. This assembly took place in the year 1628 Sakabda at Golta near the present city of Jaipur. Srila Baldeva Vidya Bhushan installed the deity of Vijay Gopal there at Golta temple, but the whereabouts of this deity are at present not known. From this day on, the Maharaja of Jaipur announced Sri Govinda's Aarti would be performed first and then the other temples could perform their artis. It is always, we have found, best to keep one's words sweet, as you never know when you will have to swallow them. Thus, after accepting defeat, the Ramanandi scholars expressed their desire to accept initiation from Sri Baladeva Vidyabhushan. However, he declined their request by stating that amongst the 4 authorized sampradayas, the Sri Sampradaya was highly respectable and the foremost adherent of Dasya Bhakti. If there was any cause of loss of respect to the Sampradaya, this might be considered an offense. In this way, he would not initiate them. Returning from Jaipur to Vrindavan, Sri Baladeva presented the certificate of victory to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and narrated all of the events that had transpired. All the devotees were in great ecstasy to receive these news, and Chakravarti bestowed his full blessings on Sri Baladeva. At this time, Sri Baladeva Vidyabhushan began to write a commentary on Srila Jiva Goswami's Sat Sandarbha. The deities of Sri Jaya and Sri Vijaya Govinda, residing at Gokulanand Mandira in Vrindavan, were worshipped by Baladeva Vidyabhushan personally. According to the opinion of some devotees, the deities of Shamanand Prabhu, Sri Sri Radha Shyamasundar, were installed by Sri Baladeva Vidyabhushan. After Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur finished his pastimes in this world, Sri Baladeva Vidyabhushan became the next Acharya of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. At the end of Radha Damodar Deva's Vedanta Shamantak, Sri Baladeva Vidyabhushan acknowledges his spiritual master thusly. I have been sent here to Vrindavan by one Brahman Guru, Sri Radha Damodar Dev, to present a composition named Vedanta Shamantak, composed by his mercy for the pleasure of Srimati Radharani. Srila Baladeva Vidyabhushan became known later as Sri Govinda Das. He had 2 well-known disciples, Sri Vidyadas and Sri Nandan Mishra, but many others also. Baladeva Vidyabhushan lived by the meaning of the following words. Knowing everything that had come to him was only the Lord's mercy, and all that he had achieved was by that same grace. Vedasya sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta krit ved vid eva chaham. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of the Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Bhagavad Gita 15.15. Some of Baladeva Vidyabhushan's most important works are Govinda Bhashya, Siddhanta Ratna, Vedanta Shamantak, Premaya Ratnavali, Siddhanta